Today, we're going to talk about how you can take 10,000 years of history and screw it all up with one card. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. We are here today to talk about my absolute annoyance with a particular card from the upcoming Ravnica set. Now, to do this properly, we're not only going to talk about that spoiler, we're going to talk about another spoiler, but before we do that, we have to go all the way back to the beginning because there's some groundwork that you need to understand, all right? You need to know where we're coming from. First of all, let's talk about the world of Ravnica, which we will be doing forever. That's the world we're living in now, boys. We're going to keep going back to this route because you know what I like after a long, hard day in the city? It's going and imagining that I'm in the nice, lush, endless city. Oh, yeah. I can't. The congestion and the traffic and the people, delicious. Love it. Very magical. Anyhow, forget about all that. Let's talk about Ravnica. Guys, the guild pack. So we have to start at the first version of Ravnica, right? Because each time we revisit it, we see it at a different point in its time. So, we're going to be talking specifically about one guild, the DIMIR guild, the blue-black aligned guild. Now, where did they fit in originally on Ravnica? Well, the original guild pact was a magically binding contract that ran all of Ravnican society. Basically, the entirety of the world was divided up amongst 10 guilds. Now, everybody basically thought there were 9 guilds, and if there was a 10th guild, that it had been long lost. And that's because the leader of the DIMIR guild was actually a 10,000-year-old vampire. Like that, older than that, actually. He guided and ran the DIMIR guild for 10,000 years. Now, when the guild pact was originally created, and remember, this is a magically binding contract, okay? It totally is enforced through magic. So, it basically, the part of the deal for the leader of the DIMIR, who's by the way, his name was Sadik, his that vampire, his condition was that his guild would remain hidden, and that his presence would remain hidden, as if he just doesn't even exist. That was written into the contract. So the DIMIR operated as part of society for 10,000 years as a secret shadow organization. And Sadik, who is a psychic vampire, so instead of feeding on blood, he actually feeds on memory and eats people's minds that way, which is actually really interesting. I like that. It was a nice twist on the standard sort of vampire, and it's done pretty decently in terms of the abilities on the card itself to represent that concept. So he's a cool card by himself. But anyways, he's the leader of the DIMIR guild. He acts through proxies, okay? Basically, it's, do you know how like mob operations work, where you have like the mob boss and maybe he has a couple trusted lieutenants, but they do, like, everything is all done from underneath and there's no contact with the upper layers. Some people don't even know who they're working for or who's in charge. That's the kind of setup that the DIMIR operated under, using pawns, secrecy, all of this. And they operated that way for 10,000 years. Now, the guild pact had to be renewed magically, and it was at this point when the guild pact was going through its renewal that Sadik actually decided he wanted to make a play for power to take over all of Ravnica. So while the guild pact had to have its power renewed, he had that opportunity to try and seize power. Now he failed, and he was arrested by the BOROS, because the BOROS are like the police officers. AZORIUS are like the lawmakers and like the judges and stuff. The BOROS are the police officers. So I think it was Kos, actually. Kos, I believe, was the one who arrested Sadik. Now, by arresting Sadik, it basically broke the guild pact because it forced... they weren't allowed to reveal the existence of Sadik. Sadik was supposed to remain a secret, but by arresting him, it became public knowledge. It violated the magic of the guild pact. So Sadik ends up being arrested. The AZORIUS secretly execute him and enslave his ghost. And that's a story for another time. I just wanted to talk about how he ties into the DIMIR and the concept behind the DIMIR. So the DIMIR are secretive. People don't even know they exist. they act through proxies, they act through intermediaries, they act through hired mercenaries. All this sort of thing. Pretty much nobody knows who they're working for because they even use mind-wiping magic. So after Sadic got taken away, Lazov took over, right? So Lazov kept the same style of operations. Now Lazov is not, I don't think he has the same kind of immortality as Sadic did, but he does have command over some of the same magics. For example, Sadic had his home of Duskmantle. That was the location that the DIMIR came from. Now, when Sadic disappeared, knowledge of how to get there and gain access to it also disappeared. So there are actually now 2 Duskmantles in existence. One that's long lost and inaccessible, and that's Sadic's one. And Lazov created a new one modeled on the first one that also has similar memory style wards to mess with people. So it's still very much the same guild, just being led by Lazov, and the guild's existence is now known. People know the DIMIR exists now. This is important to understand, okay? They're a known quantity, but they still keep the majority of their actions clandestine, hidden, and not connected to their own guild. This is really important to remember. I want you to, I want to drive this home because this is really crucial, guys. The DIMIR are so incredibly secretive that while they were still being ruled by Sadic, do you know the card Glimpse the Unthinkable, where you can see that guy screaming because he's seen something so maddening that his mind is literally unraveling? Read the flavor text on the card. It says, "I am confident that if anyone actually penetrates our facades, even the most perceptive would still be fundamentally unprepared for the truth of House DIMIR." That is amazing to me. So that's the level that this guild comes from. Now, obviously, with them being known, they're not quite at this level still. But this is where they came from. The level of secrecy that if anybody actually even found out the truth, it would destroy their mind. So we have this guild moving forwards, right? And they're still operating under secrecy. And we can see this in an excellent example from the new set. And that is the card Thought Erasure. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but Thought Erasure is a black and a blue. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. Surveil 1, and Surveil 1 is a new keyword ability that has not existed before this set. Look at the top card of your library. You may put it into your graveyard. So it's a variation of Scry. And the flavor text says, "It's truly the highest honor, isn't it? To be remembered? Pity for you." Now, this is pretty well done. This transmits the concept of the DIMIR very well. Look at this chick. She's sitting there in the shadows. Now, this can be one of 2 situations. This could be somebody looking at erased thoughts. This could be somebody who's about to send that magic lacing out into somebody's mind to erase thoughts. Or this could actually be somebody who's had their thought erased, watching it just waft away in their hand. But either way, the flavor behind this works. If it turns out this is the individual casting the spell, you can see that they're shrouded somewhat in darkness. I like that. And also, it's got that imprisoning kind of effect with the bars. I like the overall feeling. It's got a dark and control kind of feel to it. Obviously, looking at your opponent's hand and making them discard something, erasing their mind, is very DIMIR, keeping your secrets. The Surveil represents gaining knowledge and positioning it to your advantage, which I also genuinely enjoy. And the flavor text ties in fantastically as well. It's a mocking sort of, I'm about to erase your memory. It's a shame, isn't it? It's really nice to be remembered, or it's the highest honor, this sort of thing. Well, your memory's just been stripped. There you go. I like it. Ooh, I just almost got that straw in my nose. It's amazing. Okay, so we've talked about the DIMIR and how secretive they are and how good Thought Erasure is. Well, where's the problem coming in? Well, it's time to show you. Here it is, boys. Sinister Sabotage. Let's break this one down. Oh man, this card is frustrating. It's not a bad card either in terms of actual play power. 2 blue and a colorless, instant, uncommon, counter target spell, Surveil 1. Okay, and the flavor text says, "We have intel that some guilds have fallen under an invader's influence. Until we're sure, no venture succeeds." So this is Lazov speaking through his DIMIR agents, or I guess to whoever's going to spread the word to the DIMIR agents, saying, cancel all ventures, make sure that everything fails, because we don't know which of the houses have been compromised. All right, so I've said it's a decent card, all right? I've said the card seems pretty powerful. It makes sense. Sinister Sabotage totally fits with the flavor text. Well, why does this card aggravate me so much? It's the artwork, boys. This is where it all falls off the rails so much for me that it is incredibly aggravating. What we have in the artwork is we have an Izzet mage who has set up some spell that has been countered by Sinister Sabotage, all right? That's what's going on right now. That black DIMIR logo that you see in the sky there, that is the representation of the Sinister Sabotage countering the Izzet mage's spell. And it's so incredibly frustrating to me. Like, he's going to cast a spell, and then that comes out of his hands. The most secretive guild, the guild that spent 10,000 years setting up a network everywhere, being the most secretive thing in the world. Lazav is send out the word, we must stop them all. Oh, and by the way, tell them to set off, like, skywork fire displays. What is this? Why would a guild that's about secrecy approve a spell that stamps right in their face? Who's countering? Who's stopping them? Why is this happening? The DIMIR aren't the police. They're not actively out there to go, we're the ones who did this. They're secretive. They want deniability. They work through agents. Look at how big and obvious that symbol is. It's clearly the DIMIR symbol. It's right in his face too. He's staring at it. It's not subtle. It's not... Why? It's so frustrating. There is no effort put into this. It muddies everything up, guys. There's a part of the human brain that wants things to make sense and needs things to make sense. And for me, cards like this trigger it so hard. And it's so frustrating too, because the artwork is well done. The name of the card is good. The flavor text is good. The abilities on the card are good. And the concept of the artwork, concepted by a fucking retard, ruined the card. Literally, this card to me is ruined now. Yes, you can play it as a magic card, but conceptually, flavorfully, it's absolutely ruined. It makes the DIMIR look like inept clowns. This organization that 10,000 years spread out all over the plane, led by a guy who was so powerful, so crafty, that just knowing about what he's doing would break your brain. And he almost took over all of Ravnica. And now the guild that he was ran by, clowns. Big puff smoke now. Give me a break. When I see cards like this, I understand the expansion symbol for this set. Because if you guys get real close and you look at this Return to Ravnica expansion, look at it. Because it's a set of spread legs with a big fat ball sack teabag. That's what you're getting. This Return to Ravnica is a teabag right in the face. All right, let's get over. Let's go do some 6 color.
Let's see, what do we have here? Oh, our good friend Muldrotha. And we got all our little goodies here. Look at all of that. Keep you little guys over here. Oh, that's not worth much. Oh, that's kind of neat. There's gotta be something in here. Maybe somewhere. I don't know. That's kind of... Oh, that's interesting, but... Oh, what is... Ah! Well, hello, friend. Let's see what we can do with you. We're not going to need that anymore. Oh, extra protection. Now, girlie, you're going out on the town. Wow, look at that. Beautiful. Isn't that just wonderful? Oh, what do we have here, though? Oh. Oh, hello, friends. Oh. Yeah. Oh. It wants to live. Unfortunately, friend, you have to die. Yes. Too bad. So sad. And remember, kids, together we are the sixth color of magic.
Oh lordy, that's some good six color. Alright, roll the scroll, because I gotta get out of here before I start pulling my hair out and ladies start running out into the streets wailing and the men start pulling their shirts off and beating their chests over the absolute madness that has ensued. So, what are we gonna do now? We're gonna give you some options. Over here, I'm gonna give you what YouTube thinks you want to see the most, and over here, I'm gonna put something funny. Choose me or the bot. And I'm history, baby.